Hi guys, ready for episode number 5 about the times I needed my... Okay, so, we got some truth sayers here. They're going to spit you some truths. Hopefully, some things you can learn about with my real world stories, just like you can on my DVD, Combative to Street Jiu-Jitsu and BJJ Fanatics. I do actually go into some of these stories and other stories you won't get here because they're in foreign countries with switchblades being pulled and things like that. I'm going over the times that I needed a pistol in my hand, whether I drew all the way or put my hand on it, defensively displayed, etc. So we are at story number 5, and as I said in the last one, start paying attention to how many were 1 would be attacker, or 2, or 5, or 8. You might want to start paying attention to these things. So story number 5, I don't know how much later this was. Probably not. These were, I guess a lot of this was, a lot of these were the time of the summer of love, murder, rape, arson, burning down cities that happened everywhere. So, Thanksgiving Day, happy Thanksgiving. Trying to make money doing what you're allowed to do. I may or may not have driven a few months for different services. And so, working in Atlanta, I am working some DoorDash and going to get some wings. Now, in the area I was, we had the earlier gas station story. That was kind of the cutoff to like Hood over here and like nicer just a little bit over here where I lived. Literally less than a half mile. Okay. Then there was this up the hill kind of area here that I wasn't that familiar with, and I'm going to pick up some wings. So I go and I'm in an area I wasn't familiar with, and even though it was right around the corner, it seemed like I stood out. And actually, there was another area I later doing a delivery. Maybe it was those same wings that it's like, what the shit? Now we're in multi-million-dollar mansions that were hidden up higher on the left and the right. And I'm like, I just got, So I'm getting a lot of attention as I go into this wing place to get said wings to pick up for somebody. It just is what it is. I'm just telling you the true story. I'm not saying... But now when I go in, I'm just, nodding at people, whatever, minding my P's and Q's, being aware, as especially during this time, one would have to be aware when a lot of people are really turning to give you weird looks and stare at you and kind of thing. But vibe. In the first story, I talk about using intuition. This really isn't as out there as people think. And in fact, some of the top executive protection companies talk about this, have and all that. And of course, agencies have studied it, whatever, trust your intuition. So number 1, when it comes into play, awareness is coming into play a lot. And I guess intuition comes into here because I feel as I'm waiting, looking, you are my person getting my wings in a bag. I feel not just these people that are kind of like, yo, who is this? I am feeling the stare. I am feeling the stare. Again, intuition. Feel energy. Hate me in the comments below. I feel a stare coming from outside. Across a little bit slightly downhill in the parking lot. Dude sitting in a car. I feel his hate. I feel him staring at me. I'm looking. He's not getting out of his car. Waiting on my wings. He's not getting out of his car. Isn't that strange? Someone is staring at me and not getting on their car. Okay. I get the wings. I start to walk out. He sees I'm about to walk out. I see the car door open. He was 100% waiting on me to exit. To rob me. I am looking at him, let him know. I'm looking at you, I know you're looking at me. And before the distance gets too close, guys, remember, they usually try to close before pulling the gun or knife. But whenever, and I said this in the first one, again, we have another story that's the same thing. When you feel the energy, when you feel the eyes locking on you, when you feel the stare, when you feel the intent, a stranger shouldn't have that much intention on you. They shouldn't have tunnel vision on you. Getting a micro 9 for comfort driving around the car all day, actually. So I think this is the first time it's not a compact or subcompact 9 or a 357 Magnum. In the last story, I think I'm carrying a micro 9. I believe. Maybe something bigger. Anyway, I open up my shirt. Kind of just drape my hand over my pistol. He looks down. He looks up. Happy Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, sir. He was going to fucking rob me. And if none of you believe that in my awareness of my years of world travels and living in Atlanta and now having my, fifth needing a gun experience, the fourth of which in Atlanta, he waited for me. Maybe he hated my lack of melatonin where I was, because that's when people with mental illnesses, especially if they're put on medications they shouldn't be on and things like that, or illicit narcotics, and they have mental health problems, as a lot of them do, and the people preaching them do. When you then say it's okay to go hurt these people or kill those people, whether you go back to, the mid to late 1930s over there, just like the Fourth Reich's trying to do here, pushing this stuff, it makes someone like that, or, maybe I was just the easy mark in that area, he thought. But he eyed in on me, and you got to pay attention. But I shit you not, my would-be robber looked down at the pistol. Went from, I'm approaching you to fucking rob you with intention. And yes, I know this. I am a subject matter expert on self-defense. I will testify that. I have the backing to back it. He said, Happy Thanksgiving. And I said it back. Just because you almost were going to get in a shootout with someone doesn't mean you can't be polite. So there's my 80s thing to say. Obviously, I walked by him. Happy Thanksgiving to you too. And I'm, being careful as I got to my car. Unfortunately, when you live in a rich area which certain people and family members can't understand, you don't go through these things almost weekly. When you're, a grandmother trying to raise their grandkids that were dropped on you, and you're working your third friggin' job at night, walking back and forth in Chicago or Detroit or LA or now San Francisco or now Portland or just about anywhere, even by me outside of the major city. That's what it's like. And so good people have to have guns because the bad people always will. The bad people always find knives and cars and bats to commit their assaults, their murders, their rapes, and all the atrocities that take place no matter what. It's simple math, people. Anyone that can't see that is a fucking idiot with low IQ. Therefore, as long as you're a good, sane, sober person, non-felon, or maybe that changes to non-violent felon, up for debate. As long as you are a good person, all good people must carry. And in fact, since I've dabbled on this subject that might really get me in trouble, gun control was always racist. It was always against the poor, so it's always been elitist. I can't think of the term right now. Status, And now certain states are like, well, you got to have $10,000 insurance on each one and all that shit. That's just elitism. And the friggin' Holly weirdos that are pedos and whatnot, they can have private security, So, anyway, that's why I also support budget firearms, I guess, is the moral of the story. Because if Grandma can only afford a Taurus 856 or a Stoker STR-9MC, like my top 5 budget carry guns that just aired, though this will be months before this airs, That's one reason I support them. As long as they're halfway reliable and they run, everyone deserves, every good person, there are background checks. Every good person deserves to have self-defense. And that's what it's about. It's not about the operators on there getting sponsored by SIG and all that shit. It's about good people being able to protect themselves no matter all the differences that aren't differences. There's only one race, the human race, and maybe some tall gray ones that might actually be ours because interdimensional stuff. I'm going on some crazy stuff now, but we should all be able to protect ourselves. It doesn't matter your socioeconomic, your melatonin or lack thereof, or whatever. Like, it's important. So there's my story, and there's my story of one of those times I had a cool line like, "Happy Thanksgiving to you too." I didn't quite say "Happy Thanksgiving to you, sir." It's probably more how I did it from my years of bouncing experience. Little twinkle in my eye, like, "Motherfucker, I'm ready to burn you the F down, but I'm hoping not to have to." If they get it, let things keep getting so out of control, and I don't know. Anyway, guys, like, share, subscribe. Let me know if you've ever almost been robbed on a holiday. If any of you have almost been robbed on a holiday, maybe I'll pin that comment instead of mine. Let me know if you have had similar stories or have felt intuition, intention of someone just staring at you with seething hate, or thinking you're a mark and they're going to come rob you, attack you, sexually assault you, whatever the situation is. So if you have that higher eye, that intuition, or you want to be a denier, maybe you should tune in because it can save your butt. Okay, so thanks everyone. Kaboom.